G'day viewers, my name's Graham Stevenson and I'd like to invite you to come on a journey of creativity and learning and adventure through the series Colour in Your Life. There's an artist in every family throughout the world. And lots of times there's an artist deep down inside all of us as well. So grab your kids, your brothers, your sisters, your aunties, uncles and mums and dads and come and see how some of the best artists in Australia do what they do.
G'day viewers and welcome back to Colour in Your Life. We're up at Proserpine at the moment in far north Queensland, nice muggy day, and we're with our sculptor extraordinaire, Mr. Adriaan Vanderlugt. Pleasure, bud.
Pleased to meet you, Graham.
Thank you very much for being on the show. As you can see, Adrien is a sculptor and a magnificent sculptor as well. You've got an amazing history. What we're going to be doing today is we're going to be working in timber, and this is one of the examples that we're working on, which is one of his rocking horse kangaroos. And also, it's a rocking horse?
No,
a rocking horse kangaroo.
Just a kangaroo.
It's a rocking kangaroo.
Yeah, that's more like it.
But we're going to be working on one of these and then some of his stonework as well. But before we get into that, you've got a very, very interesting background as well. You're from Holland, ex-Canada, then to Australia. Obviously you met your beautiful wife Denise, another very, very talented lady as well. But one of your main influences is from the Inuit people in Canada, which is when you were there. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
The Inuit are the people that used to be called Eskimos. They're from the Arctic zone of Canada. What inspired me about them was their being in touch with nature, their whole animal ethic that inspired me. When I moved to Canada as a 7-year-old, I loved that about the Indians. I loved that about the Eskimo people we discovered later on. And I said, yeah, there's something there. I'd been to Europe, saw the big monuments, no, that wasn't for me. So it was all of this environment with animals and like that really did the inspiration.
It's magnificent. Yeah. And your work's been seen all over the world. We've got a couple of shots that we'll screen in about just down at the local council chambers where you've been commissioned by a number of various government organisations to actually sculpt some of these pieces. They really are beautiful, but nature really plays a huge part in your work, doesn't it?
It's the only odd commission that comes with a person that's the commission. It's because I'm being asked to do it. When I'm motivated for myself, it's all the animal world. The birds, animals, reef. And our first exhibition in Sydney with Denise and me, we took the barrier reef to Sydney to a major gallery down there.
And that was at Barry Stearns Gallery in the 80s, wasn't it?
It was in the mid-80s. It was great. It was just, it was our introduction to the art world, and that set us up. It was really lovely to go from here to there.
But today, as we said, we're going to put a rocking kangaroo together.
I've called it a rockaroo.
and then see how this proceeds, and then we're going to do some work on the stone as well. But let's
shove it all the way in.
Let's start on the blank that Adrien already has going, and then I'll ask you some more questions as we go through anyway.
So these guys have gone around the world over the years. This is number 153. And I'm working on number 154 right now. So what I'll do is I'll set that up, and I get some chisels out and the grinding tools. A boat builder here, a local boat builder said to me, this was 30 years ago, he said, you're going to run into trouble with chisels. He said, use the grinder. That's what we use for the boating world. Sure. And then there's no worry about where the grain goes. And that was one of the biggest revelations to me, that tool.
Sensational.
So in the sculpture world I've been in, it's mostly self-exploration. Talking to other workers, you learn a bit more, you share a bit, and all of that. So that's how I've progressed.
There'll be lots of noise, but let's go and have a look anyway. Okay. All right, well, as you can see, Adrien's actually set up this, it's not really a template, is it? What would you call this?
I've got templates in the cupboard that, I've made that up, cut it up on the bandsaw, and I'm ready to just carve now. I don't need, it's in my head. Okay. I know where it's going.
What I'm going to do, because it's going to get pretty dusty and dirty and noisy, is I'm going to step out of the shot. I'll ask you some questions from the side.
Okay.
But why don't you talk to the audience about what you're doing as well? Take it from there.
I'm going to grab some chisels and you see my tool cupboard, rather simple, organised, but I know where every tool is. When I need it, I know where it is. So, no.
It's not in there?
Not in there today. My little Antechinus lives in there. I'm loving that. So there's my tool. Some of these tools are hand-me-downs from a friend who said, my mother's not using them anymore.
Yeah.
Can I have? Yeah. And so he says, you make a go of that. So there's my,
wonderful.
There's my collection of chisels, and I'll just slip that over here. Okay, I've just grabbed this mallet from over there. I made this a few years ago on the bandsaw, just grind it down to a round. It's made out of blue gum, nice and solid and heavy. It's heavy work, but so is this. I'm actually going to... I'm chopping down to the hand, where I want it to be.
There's chips flying everywhere. So you obviously keep those very, very sharp.
Well, you can't blame your tools, eh?
No.
Just to show you the process, this is what I do for the whole shaping. The tail, it just, you know, that's what I got to do. Okay, the next bit, I'll grab a grinder. The grinder that I just used is about 3 grades of grinding. If I'm taking off really rough stuff, I'll use a really coarse one. That was a pretty fine one, that's why it was a bit slow. I bought a side drill 30 years ago, a Makita one, and I went to get it repaired the other day, and they couldn't fix it. Where did this come from? It was antique. So I bought a new side drill, okay? And what's wonderful about this one, it has varying speeds. The disc is a piece of rubber, which is soft, so that my disc will go around the corners. That's been my invention to make this all work. Without this, I wouldn't be doing this. Okay. I use this, and then it's hand sanding with the sandpaper, the fine sandpaper. Sometimes I use a block, but mostly I'll use my fingers and my hands. So there's a lot of shoulder work in that. But I'll just show you how this works. And it's not as mad a tool as the other one was. And again with this, at this stage I should be using medium sandpaper. This is what was on the disc from the other day. So I should put on a piece of medium, which I cut myself. I cut squares, punch a hole in it, and then put it on there and then cut it out with the scissors. When I teach sculpture, there's a great demand for working with hands again. I think people are just too thumb crazy these days and point with their fingers on a computer. They expect everything to happen with the push of a button. And this doesn't happen that way. The other thing that I'm on about is that the original of this should be a drawing. It should come out of your head somehow. How do you get to this stage? And you need drawing skills to do that. And I think you're an artist, I'm an artist, and I draw very well. And that's what I teach my little kids when I teach 9 to 12-year-olds. I teach them to draw what they see. Look, before the computer, it has to come out of the head and into the computer. You're in control that way. But when you just pick up the program, somebody else is doing it for you. I think you gotta have your own control of what you want. That's a big
mainstay of what you and Denise do, is you have kids around, you literally show them some of the traditional ways of how this is all put together.
Yes, I teach the sculpture with the kids too, not just drawing abilities. But I just find it terrific when the kids come back to me later, 4 years later. Yep, I can draw anything I want. They're just full of confidence. And one of the kids, university level now, came home and said to Dad, you know, Dad, they were teaching me stuff that I learned from Adrien 10 years ago. And I think that's the real waste of the university. They haven't got it right, because I think every kid should be able to draw by the time they're 12 years old. If you can write your name, you can draw, because it's just a matter of process, learning how to think about it, observation, all of that. And I think that's where you got to be. I think there was, when I was in Canada just recently, there was a conference actually on getting the image into the computer, from the head to the computer. There was a conference about that. I said, yes, so good.
Well, as you can see, as part of putting this beautiful sculpture together, you've got leather ears as well.
Cow leather.
Yeah.
And it's sitting on a stick, which is that long, and it goes into the head by that much. And I have to round that bit that's showing so that it doesn't cut the leather. And I just simply use a little paring knife like that, and then round that off. That's just to show you how that works. I trim this a little bit, just put a groove in there so the glue has somewhere to come out.
All right.
And a bit tight. So this is an ear that I've from another kangaroo, but it's too soft. I've gone to a thicker leather now, and so I'm actually here's the punch. So there's 5, and it's 5 holes. It's easy to do. You put one at each end.
Yep.
So then I have to put this leather thong in there, and I still go through all 5 holes, pull it through, leaving a bit, so that'll go to the inside, so then I'll come over the top.
And just turn it around the other way.
So that'll come around. Now I have to start pushing that around like that.
And then roll it over the top.
Yeah, roll it over the top like that, so you can see what's going to happen. And that'll just roll around like that and into there, so you can see that we're going to get the leather lacing, not around like that, but into the holes, much like what's happened there. So I glue that in, I glue the lace in as well. So that's the making of the ears.
That's fabulous. Well, as you can see, we've gone back to the first piece that we had when we started, and the thing I love about your work, and I think that you enjoy, is it's so tactile. You love people touching what you do.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. But in saying that, this is obviously one of the pieces that you do for the pleasure of other people, but you've got these magnificent whale pieces that you do. I mean, the one that we've got up on the screen at the moment, it's absolutely enormous. So you can see the extent of where your career and your sculptural efforts go to in putting these together. That's a massive piece. I mean, that's got to weigh at least 1/2 ton.
It did, until I hollowed it out.
Sure.
What I've learned, I did a big dolphin 3 meters long, and I had to hollow out that dolphin, and from that I learned that we should hollow out this whale. So laying it on its side, with a chainsaw, it was pretty tricky. Made a special long chisel to hollow it and welded it together to hollow it out. Good, now 3 people can lift that whale.
Yeah.
So it's not the big tonnage that you're talking about, but it's very tactile. People want to climb sculptures. I wish they wouldn't do that. It doesn't happen in Europe, but somehow Australian kids, maybe it's the new generation, I wish they wouldn't climb all over sculptures.
Sure.
Touch them, yes, like you're doing now. I mean, that's great.
But I mean, you're very versatile in what you do. It's just not the wood, it's also metal, it's also rock as well. And you've got a piece that you're going to work with us on today as well. It's of a scrub fowl that you're working on, and that's on feldspar.
I picked the rock for the colour that it is, and it happens to be a bit softer than the marble that I work with, So yes, I've moved on to metal, and I did that way back in the early 80s. I made a bird with legs, with a stainless steel beak and stainless steel legs, and that was my artist friend said, oh, that'll never work, but it did work, and it encouraged me to keep going. And I've made a number of bird sculptures with legs. When you're in Canada, all of the birds have big thick fur coats on, and they've got big legs, and they got everything bulky. It's great for stone carving. When you carve with stone, you've got to keep it bulky. And in that bulkiness, when I came to Queensland, the birds here, they're wearing bikinis.
Because it's hot.
So what do? I can't make them thick and bulky. So that's when I got the idea of using the legs. Can't do it with stone, so I started thinking of bronze. And there's a foundry just 2 hours north of here that I was using. And I've got samples of legs over there. They're all the wooden ones I've made that then became bronze. And so I hang the bird and I fit the wooden legs until everything's balanced. I've got a base happening. They get bolted into the base, and so the whole thing has to be engineered. I'm not an engineer, but I intuitively know how to do that. So it's interesting engineering. The Rocky Kangaroo, I had a knee doctor, a foot doctor, whatever he's called. He said, how did you know when that rock was right? Because I do feet for people to rock with the, he says, and I went to school to learn all of that. And I said, just did it. So, that intuitiveness, I guess, I don't know where that comes from, but you just do it.
And you've got another major piece as well. It's the pelicans in marble. which was a lifetime's work, wasn't it? It was a 6-ton block of marble that you had, and then from there you had various techniques that you had to use to try and cut it down and carve it.
The block came from Chillago originally. I got it was 1988, and it took me till 2008 to finish carving that, mostly because I didn't know what I was doing at first.
Yeah.
And I'd started with a chisel and hammer. I got too sore, and it wasn't until Sylvia Oponia from Adelaide came into my life. We did a sculpture symposium and did the rock wallaby.
Yep.
And he clued me in on new tools to be using. So I was thrilled. Thanks to him, I've moved on a great deal. I knew what I was doing then.
All right, well, after talking about rock and marble and feldspar, let's go and do some carving on that feldspar over there.
If you're ready for a bit of dust.
Sounds good to me. Let's go and have a look. Okay. Okay, well, this next section's going to get a little dusty, so you told me. Feldspar, and then to the hardest rock, which is basalt.
Yes.
And in between there are obviously other hardnesses of rock that you guys work on. What's the one that you prefer to use most of all?
I like marble, mostly. The marbles come from Chillago, and there are various grades of marble and various colours. There's lots of colours up there. I was probably one of the first 3 guys carving marble from Chillago in the early 80s. That was pretty exciting. Everybody in Australia is using it now. But you talk about the hardness of the stone. We talked about the Inuit influence on my early carvings. Well, I was carving soapstone, which is what they were carving up there from the north. And I got a piece at the art gallery, at the art shop, and I used a knife and I did most of it with scraping. So everyone starts sort of with soapstone, but it comes in various grades as well. So after that, you can move on to the electric tools, which I didn't have in those days. Think what Michelangelo could have done if he'd had electricity. So this is
what he did do and that he didn't.
Yeah. So this is a grinder. It's an angle grinder, and that's a 5-inch wheel or 125. That's diamond, and it's diamonds on the outside, as you can see. It's not on the inside, but diamond wheels are not just diamond wheels. This is meant for stone cutting. Some of them you can buy really cheap ones, and they won't do the job for you. Okay. So it will work, but different stones will require different expertise. And I've found this diamond wheel to be working for me very well. So I'll just cut some slices, knock them off. Just shows you how it works.
And you just sort of break it down and then start to smooth it back with other mediums as well.
I will. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's let you have a go at that.
Okay.
I'll step out of the side. There's going to be a bit of dust.
I'll put some gear on
and
first.
some noise. You're like an alien.
So there's my bird that I want to do like that, okay? So there's my head happening up there. So where do I go? And the interesting thing is that I'll look at it from the top. Okay, you put your head over the top, and now you can see that I've got a great big chest I need to get rid of here, right? So I make that decision. I'll go there and I'll take that off, right? Go back to that. Then I'll look at it this way. I need to do this. I don't want to lose the tail, or I do need to. I need to come in. Now, the neck is going to be a lot finer, but I'm leaving it bulky until I refine where it's going to come from out of the body.
Sure.
Then I'll work towards that, and I'll leave that as wide, as thick as possible, for as long as possible. As I said, stonework is often bulky, and that's part of the charm of the Eskimo work, the Inuit work, and that's what I love about stonework. And there was a stage where I got a little advice from Mike Parr, and he said, "You're getting a bit too flash. Go back to the rawness that you had in the early days."
Okay.
A wonderful bit of advice. So there you go. Yeah, so that's how that works. Now, one more element here. Just this, you recognize what that is?
It's an old grinding stone.
A grinding wheel. And I just hit it with a hammer and it fell into pieces, and then I can actually grind these into shape on the grinding wheel, and I actually can go into these little crevices and do what these other tools don't do.
Sure,
you
sure.
see, and this felt spar, it's soft like that, but you can see.
You can see it really breaks it down.
So when if I want a flat surface, I just use the flat or that piece you're using there. There are different grades of this as well, so I can. So you can see this takes a while. A sculpture gallery piece might take 2 or 3 weeks. I guess I've done the small ones in a week. Big ones, when there's legs involved, usually can be 6 months. It's a bit of hard labour, but it's love. It's passion. Look at the mess I'm in. I'm getting dirty. I'm here, noise and all of that.
Arrived.
but you know, you put up with that just to get the result. And that's where the thrill is. But you know, you finish your big project, you have a breather, and the next bit is the most exciting bit again.
Yeah.
So the people often ask, what's your favorite medium? And I say, oh, whatever I'm working on.
Sure.
Because it's the journey, it's the process that I'm involved in. I enjoy so much.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I see you put some colour in your life, and there's very little colour with this, but I often think of my life as a whole kaleidoscope of adventure.
Well, I think the idea of put some colour in your life is about creativity.
Okay.
And it's about delving into that side of your mind. That sort of says, just regardless of whether you're doing this or you're doing something else, it's about creativity.
Yeah.
Okay guys, great day with a very, very talented man. Thank you, bud. It's been amazing, and as you can see, we're standing beside this incredible marble piece. It's just magnificent. It's looking for a home, isn't it?
Sure is.
Absolutely. So, and even your kangaroo paintings as well.
Well, I'd love to pass that on to someone who would be passionate about that, yes.
Yeah, I think that'd be amazing. And your website, so that if anybody wants to come in and see what you do, is?
Vanderloot.com.au.
On the bottom of the screen right now, guys, so you can go and see that. Remember, come and see us in Facebook, and you can see some of your work in our Facebook page and Colour in Your Life as well. So it's colorinyourlife.com.au, and we'll head off. We've got to head off to Townsville now to see a lady up there, but it's been a great day.
You guys are so busy.
Your wonderful wife Denise, God, and she's so talented as well. It's just an amazing couple that lives up here at Proserpine. Really, really cool stuff. But until we meet again, guys, remember, make sure you put some marble, make sure you put some colour in your life. We'll see you next time, guys.
I like the marble.
Bye now. Bye.